Hey everybody, and welcome to another Majesty discussion video, and today we will be discussing the topic of our standard shield values way too low. But before we get into it, guys, how about you subscribe, give the video a like, and comment down below what your opinions are on the matter. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So as you can see here, I have a layout of nearly all of the triggers that we need to be using in standard and grade 1. Because in standard, both grade 1s and grade 2s have a shield value of 5k, and so do draw triggers. But we also have effect draw triggers that gives 5k shield. We also have effect fronts that give an extra 5k if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3. And we also have a 10k one that's based on conditions that'll become a 20k shield. However, these shield values are way too low. I would like to go through kind of a history of, the shield values in Vanguard. Back when the game first came out, we had two shield values. We had 5k and 10k. Because, numbers weren't that big back then. A 10k shield was really, really big. And as the game kind of evolved, got faster, strides got introduced and everything, numbers were gradually getting bigger. And since we had the G zone, it was actually an incredibly smart idea to introduce generation guards. So what you would do is you would discard a heal trigger from your hand. So discard it, and you could activate an effect and give it a really big shield, or give it 20,000 shield, give 5k for every whatever. So whatever conditions were met, your shield could get really, really big. And so that's how it kind of circumvented it. So you can guard with a 5k here if you had a heal trigger in hand. Then if your opponent's Vanguard swings was like way too big, or you had to guard, you had a generation guard that you needed. So the shields for like the baseline units stayed the same, but we also had this as kind of a safety blanket in the G era, which obviously was fantastic. It was a nice kind of cushion. So then, whenever V came out, things started getting a bit interesting. So the shield values went up for pretty much everything, except for grade 2s, they all stayed the same. So grade 1s got a 10k base shield. A heal trigger went up to 20,000, and your draw stayed the same at 5, and your criticals and your obviously now front triggers they became 15. So you had bigger shield options. Of course, you were swinging for a lot more in V, but it started to become a problem because force markers were a thing. There was way bigger numbers than V was intending to be. And then this got introduced. We got a heal guardian. So it was a grade 3. It had lower shield than the regular heal trigger, but it had an additional effect. It could, -2 crit to your opponent's attacking unit, or it gives you an extra 10k for the whole round. So for the whole turn. So just in case you needed that extra thing to protect you, it was there. So it was a 25k shield with an extra 10, with 10k being there the whole turn, or it was a -2 crit that you needed to do. That was an excellent improvement onto the V era of shields. I think the V era shields were perfect. That's why we use them in premium so much, is because the shield values are bigger and people use a lot of V era cards, like 95% V era cards anyway. So it's just right that we use these better shield values. And then we got a quick shield also, which helped. And then we move on to standard, which started off, the power got really the power stayed pretty small, but with these attacks that could multi-attacks, really big swings. Just Gandiva comes to mind. You could be swinging for 23,000, 33,000 with a Persona ride. Like even more if you're binding more cards, all these multi-attacks that are swinging in. You got 4, 5, 6 attacks. And if you need pieces in your hand for your next turn or whatever, 5k 15k is not going to work out. So I always suggest that something like a heal guardian should be implemented into standard. I know they did it with, I'll have the card up here somewhere with the heal. I know they tried to like quote unquote fix it and give like a 20k shield on very strenuous conditions, but I honestly think a heal guardian is the right way to go. You know, there's loads of games that I've had where I've had like amazing attacking units, but you know, I just couldn't finish off that turn, whether they got lucky with triggers or, and you know, I only have like 1 or 2 triggers, and you know, loads of grade 1s and 2s potentially, or you know, or no triggers at all, like a very low hand. And it's a very stressy game at that point, because you could just be outlucked, you can just be really unlucky when it comes to drawing triggers. You could be just be screwed by not having enough shield value in your hand. And that's no fault of your own, but that's just how the shield values work in standard. I know they said they wanted to be speedy and fun, but you know, speedy, you know, being killed in your grade on your opponent, you're on grade 2 and your opponent's swinging in their grade 3 turn, and you don't have enough resources because you weren't able to build up, you weren't able to get to your grade 3 turn, is just, I think, very dumb. You know, obviously, I don't think G Guardians need to be in there, because you know, we have our Stride deck set and everything. But I do think, again, not to be repeating myself, but I do think the Heal Guardian is the right way to go. Because we had a gradual evolution. I'm sorry I don't have a 10k heal trigger, but we had that gradual kind of evolution of, okay, so it's 10k, but okay, we'll give the heal trigger 20k and V, you know, have that special kind of thing. And then, okay, so we'll kind of maybe lower the shield value, but up the usefulness of the heal trigger. And there you go. It's a solid evolution of shield value and how they work. And then we have these kind of effects here that aren't amazing. I mean, a 20k shield, if you're on grade, you know, if your opponent's grade 3, sounds good, but who's running front triggers? It's a very defensive deck. I only have this because I don't really need it. I'm only running like maybe 1 or 2 in a deck right now, but they're only good for offensive attacks. For, you know, if you're playing defensively, what are you gonna do when you pop a front trigger? You know what I mean? But anyway, that's just my opinion. I do think the shield values or something should be implemented or introduced that kind of helps with the shield value. But anyway, yeah, that's just my opinion. Guys, thanks so much for watching. This is just a small kind of discussion video that I like to bring up. I had it rolling in my head for a few days, just conversations with people that I know have similar kind of issues with it. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Comment, you know, what your opinions are on it. And I will see you guys in the next video.